Well, breaking news slapped us all out of our bed this morning when we discovered that the FAA grounded thousands of flights, and many of your loved ones and family members may have been impacted. In fact, they're stating it was due to a system outage. Thankfully, they have resumed those flights. However, the question lingers in my mind, is there more to the story? Well, you're about to find out. But before I do, just a quick break. Over 20 million American households are behind on their utility bills, according to a new report. Shockingly, that is 1 out of every 6 homes. These families owe over $16 billion total, with an average amount of $788 owned per household. In fact, experts are predicting that we will see an entire sea of shutoffs very soon as electricity costs continue to rise. It is vital that you fight back against these greedy utility companies. And you can do that easily with this amazing new device at savepowerbills.com. Now, this device's patented technology will provide your home with smooth, stable electrical current. And that current is going to increase your efficiency. Not only that, but it's going to get rid of that dirty electricity, as well as it's going to have less wasted power. And of course, it's going to help you ultimately lower your power bill. This small gadget works and it can save you money, whether you're in a home, an apartment, or even an office. I know because I personally use this in my home. That's why it's also no surprise that tens of other thousands of people are also right now using this trusted device in order to, well, become more energy efficient. Don't wait, because right now they are offering 50% off by going to savepowerbills.com. That's savepowerbills.com. And right now you can see one example of what one person has saved. You can see the old energy bill, $251, as opposed to the new energy bill with this device of $15. I partnered with them because this is absolutely one way that you can save money. And right now the good news is if you're not satisfied, you have 60 days to change your mind if you're not happy. But check it out at savepowerbills.com. Now, if you're on a mobile device, click the more button to get more information about what's going on, or click in the description box below if you're there on YouTube. But again, take advantage of this special offer and save some money in your electricity. Anyhow, back to the broadcast. So what on earth is going on and what happened with these flights? We'll take a look at this first article on AmericanMilitaryNews.com. FAA halts all U.S. flights, 4,000 plus flights delayed. Now, the FAA also took to Twitter to announce the entire thing, and here is their FAA Twitter account. And they reported at 4:30 this morning, very early on, the FAA is working to restore its notice to air mission system. We're performing final validation checks and reloading it now. Operations across the national airspace system are affected. We will provide frequent updates as we make progress. Here's the next update, which just basically says we're still working on it. Some functions are beginning to come back online, but we're limited. Update number 3, they are still again working on restoring it. The FAA has ordered airlines to pause all domestic departures until 9 a.m. Eastern time to allow the agency to validate the integrity of flight and safety information. The next update here, all flights currently in the sky are safe to land. Please check the NOTAM system before they fly. A notice to air missions alert pilots about closed runways, equipment outages, or other potential hazards along a flight route or at a location that could affect the flight. Update 4, the FAA is yet again making progress in restoring its notice to air mission system following an overnight outage. Departures are resuming at particular airports here due to air traffic congestion in those areas. And then the final update here, normal air traffic operations are resuming gradually across the U.S. following an overnight outage to the notice to air mission system that provides safety information to flight crews. The ground stop has been lifted, and we will continue to look into the cause of the initial problem. And that was put out just a few hours ago at about 6:50 this morning. So there you have it. We had one big problem hit the airwaves this morning on how all these flights are down until about 9 a.m. They opened them back up, and now they are slowly, progressing, releasing those flights. But the question therein lies, what on earth happened and what is going on? Well, Miss Karine Jean-Pierre put out a report on her Twitter page, and this is what she had to say. Take a look here. Yet again on Twitter. The president has been briefed by the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, this morning on the FAA system outage. There is no evidence of cyber attack at this point, but the president directed DOT to conduct a full investigation into the causes. The FAA will provide regular updates. So according to the White House, thus far, it is not attributed to any kind of cyber attack. Now, there is one person that is at the center of all of this, I guess the common denominator of all these transportation problems that we've been having lately, and that is, well, Pete Buttigieg. And take a look what he had to say about this particular fiasco, or shall I say, another fiasco with the airlines. But here he states, I have been in touch with the FAA this morning about an outage affecting a key system for providing safety information to pilots. FAA is working to resolve this issue swiftly and safely so that air traffic can resume normal operations and will continue to provide updates. So let me wrap this up in a pretty little package for you. We have an administration right now that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and they hire based off of inclusivity and minority and whether or not, you fit this particular profile rather than on actual experience. Let's be very blunt here. Ever since Pete Buttigieg, who has no transportation experience whatsoever, was brought into office, and we all know why he was brought into office, even though he has no experience, but I digress. We have had crisis after crisis. Let me just remind you of some of those, and I wrote them down here. We started with the supply chain crisis, then we had the baby formula shortage crisis. Then we had the botching labor negotiations. And how about the railroad union negotiations, all of which got botched? And not to mention recently, Southwest airline crisis, where thousands of flights were delayed. And Pete Buttigieg kind of sat back and didn't do much, even though he kind of knew about it. And here we are yet again, more flight issues. And Pete Buttigieg, it's okay, doesn't matter. We've got idiots running the White House and his entire administration. And let's just be frank here. What's the real reason that this is going on? Well, again, Pete Buttigieg is at the center. And for starters, he's not around half the time. Heck, he almost spent nearly half a year on paternity leave, which is just insane. Let's just leave it all out there in the open. I believe he should take it, but dang, in the middle of all these crises and for that long, wow. With that said, what's the main reason that this happened? And I think this is an issue in the Biden administration. I really do. And I know some of you may have a different put on that, but this is a straight up embarrassment. And this is what they're doing. This is my personal opinion. But here's the bottom line. They're spending billions in Ukraine. They're sending money to Lloyd Austin to wake the military. And bottom line, instead of spending it on actual infrastructure, our Biden administration is spending this money that they're putting out to these organizations on racial equity, on inclusion, on income equality, on environmental justice, and climate change. That's it. That's why the system's screwed up, because he's not actually fixing the infrastructure. He's saying, let's put inclusivity and make it about that, when it should have nothing to do with that. Here's case in point. Here's where the money went this year, just to really hone in my point here. And it says, if you're surprised that the FAA systems went down this morning, grounding all domestic flights, you should not be. Below, here's what the DOT and FAA's budget focused on in 2023. And I want you to pay attention to this top part here that I'm going to read. It says, advances on racial equity and supports underdeserved communities. The budget requests an additional $20 million above the 2021 enacted level for the offices of the Secretary to lead DOT's effort to promote equity and inclusion with these resources. DOT would better ensure that historic investments under the bipartisan infrastructure law delivered resources and benefits equitably, including communities that have been historically underdeserved and adversely affected by persistent poverty or income inequality. DOT actions include workforce development, disadvantaged business enterprises, procurement, data collection, reporting, public participation, and assistant measures mitigating or negating the effects of structural obstacles to building wealth. Let's put the budget this year of the DOT all focused on, racial equality, inclusion, income equality, the things that the Department of Transportation should be worried about. No, I thought they were focused on actual transportation. Here's part two here, where the other part of the money, this bottom line, prioritizes aviation safety and infrastructure. You'd think that meant actual infrastructure? Guess again. The budget provides $15.2 billion in discretionary budget authorization for the FAA to improve aviation safety, transforming the nation's aviation infrastructure and improve cybersecurity. These investments also promote environmental justice and climate change mitigation by prioritizing sustainable design and construction and enhancing equity through more inclusive contracting and workforce development. The resources provided through the budget complement the $5 billion already paid provided by the bipartisan infrastructure law for 2023. So there you have it. The money for the DOT, Department of Transportation, that Buttigieg is in charge of, let's put that money towards things that have nothing to do with actual transportation. Restructuring the entire thing to fit the climate agenda. Oh, and more importantly, all this extra money towards racial equality and inclusion. Are our roads racist? Are our highways and planes racist? I mean, what? Yeah. Welcome to socialized communism in a pretty little package. Why do these problems exist? Because they're more worried about pushing a political agenda straight in our faces than actually fixing your infrastructure. They don't care. They have their own private jets, as many of you know. It makes all of us sick to our stomach. They fly around in private jets while the rest of us are suffering with all these cancelizations under the Biden administration, yet Democrats refused to contribute it to that. Hello? We didn't have these problems before the administration, and suddenly, bang. And you know why I think it is? Some kind of malfunction, and who knows, I could be wrong with their systems, but because it is a complete embarrassment to the Biden administration. Whether or not it'll be some reason down the road, I don't know. I can't attribute it 100% till more information and the investigation's done, but I can't help but ignore the fact, I can't help but not ignore the fact that they're using all the funds for racial inequality and climate change rather than things that they should actually be used for. I don't know. Anyhow, I love all of you. Please don't forget to check your subscription here on the channel. Make sure you are still subscribed and have that notification button checked because they're not really sending out notifications. So please make sure the all button is checked on that bell. Anyhow, I love all of you. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.